Before I get into this video, I'd like to announce that the free Discord community for the Celestial Ascension YouTube channel has officially launched. So, you want to get rid of your acne? Well, you came to the right place. First thing we're going to go over is the causes of acne. So there are really only 4 causes. The first being excess sebum oil being produced by enlarged sebaceous glands in your skin. This is caused by genetics. Some people just have naturally more oily faces than others. And also testosterone, which also converts into DHT. Both of these androgens have a big influence on essentially enlarging sebaceous glands and making them produce more oil. So, for example, if you have hormonal imbalances where you have sudden surges of testosterone, that is a very major cause for your acne. Of course, this doesn't mean that you should reduce your testosterone, especially if you're a man. We're going to find other ways to get around it, as you will see. The next thing is clogged pores. What does this mean? Well, it means that the pores in your skin basically are clogged with dead skin cells, and so they can't breathe properly. And it creates a breeding ground for bacteria and for sebum oil to coagulate. This can be caused by comedogenic products, very difficult word to pronounce, as well as things like bad hygiene habits and a low rate of shedding skin, so a low rate of skin cell turnover. And we'll actually look at a way to increase that rate later on in the video. The next thing is acne bacteria. So this is the bacteria that causes you can think of it as an infection almost, right? So this is caused by poor hygiene, not washing your face 2 times a day, not switching pillowcases every few weeks, not changing your towel or using the same towel to wipe your face every single day. All of those sorts of things will lead to acne bacteria building up on your face. Next is inflammation. This is the last one, and this is the most systemic one. So inflammation essentially causes the pustules, the acne pustules, to become more red as well as enlarged. So, and it will also cause the skin around your acne pustules to become red and inflamed as well. So this is mostly caused by poor gut health and use of harsh products. So, for example, makeup or even cleansers that are too strong and use chemicals that are too harsh on the skin. We're going to look at a way to address gut health in the next section of the video, which is about lifestyle. So first thing, no junk food. This is a non-negotiable. If you have bad input into your body, you will get bad outputs, which will show themselves through symptoms of poor health, acne being one of them. This will reduce your overall systemic inflammation, and as well as cause your face to be less greasy as well, so producing less sebum oil. And this will do wonders for your gut health, so it won't actually just benefit your skin, but it will help your whole body systemically be much healthier. Next thing you want to do is minimize dairy. So I'm not telling you to cut out dairy from your diet. Dairy is very good for you, especially if you're growing, because of the IGF-1 inside. However, it is precisely because of the IGF-1 and some other things like insulin spikes that causes essentially your sebaceous glands to produce more sebum. And so you want to minimize dairy, minimize, not eliminate. But you especially want to remove things like skimmed milk. So skim milk basically is worse for your acne because it causes a faster insulin spike, which is just worse for your sebaceous glands. And you also want to prioritize raw products, so avoid pasteurized milk, pasteurized dairy. Things like raw kefir, raw milk, raw Parmesan cheese will be very beneficial for your gut health whilst being minimally impactful on your skin. Next thing to do is a silk pillowcase. So this sounds like it would be quite expensive, and I guess for a pillowcase it is. But overall it's not that much, and this can essentially help in that silk is naturally basically harder for bacteria to breed on and for dead skin cells to sort of settle and get stuck in. And so it's essentially easier to clean off and to maintain the cleanliness of compared to a normal cotton pillowcase. It's quite low yield, but you might want to try it nonetheless if you have severe acne, because every little helps, right? Next thing to do, this is a very, very key thing, is to wash your face twice a day. I think you'd be really surprised by how many people, including me, had acne and didn't wash their face twice a day, right? You would think that that was the first thing that you should do, the first thing that you should try. But it's kind of hard to get consistent if you're not used to doing it. Something I suggest is batching it up with other habits. So if you're going to brush your teeth, wash your face alongside it. If you have morning coffee, you know, whilst you're making your morning coffee, wash your face in the kitchen sink, right? It's that simple. And you want to wash before bed as well. That's very important because the grease and skin cells will accumulate on your face over the day, as well as dust from the environment. You want to wash that off before you spend 8 to 10 hours lying down with your face essentially being compressed into material with no movement, right? Next thing is probiotics and fermented foods. So this is gut health again. So things like kefir, kimchi, other sorts of fermented food, very good for your gut health, and it will essentially aid your digestion, which will also aid your acne from improving, and will cause less systemic inflammation that will show up in your skin. Next thing is you want to prioritize complex carbs over simple carbs. So complex carbs essentially have fiber in them, and it basically takes longer to release. It causes less of an insulin spike. And this is beneficial for the reasons as mentioned above, because the insulin spike will cause your sebaceous glands to produce more sebum oil, right? So you want to prioritize complex carbs over simple carbs, things like sugar or just straight fructose, sucrose, that sort of thing, right? You want to prioritize things like carbohydrates like potato, rice, pasta, that sort of thing, right? Another thing, don't pick at your face. This should be quite obvious, but you need to resist the urge to pick at your face, all right? Because picking at your face will cause scarring to be worse and after your acne is gone, and it'll also exacerbate the inflammation and introduce new bacteria to your face through your hands. So there's really no reason to do it. You want to avoid that at all costs. Same thing with keeping hair off your skin. If you have long hair, keep it back. Use a hairband, anything, and keep it off, especially your forehead. I've noticed all the time, of course this is anecdotal, but when I have long hair and my hair falls over my forehead, like in terms of, you know, having bangs or something, the acne on my forehead sort of gets a lot worse. So you really want to avoid that. Now the next section we're going to go on to is pharmaceutical treatments for acne. So I've made a useful little spectrum here, from least potent to most potent. And we're going to start at this end of the spectrum with salicylic acid wash. So if you're going to use a cleanser, make sure it has salicylic acid in it, because it dissolves sebum and it's slightly antibacterial. But the most important thing is that it penetrates pores, which means that it basically can get in and clean out your clogged pores. This is very important for acne, as I mentioned above, since clogged pores are one of the main causes for acne. Next thing you can introduce to your skincare routine is benzoyl peroxide. So this essentially is the thing that kills acne bacteria. It's like kryptonite for acne bacteria. You can get it either in terms of a gel, as you can see here, or you can get it in terms of a face wash. Either one works. I personally prefer the gel because you can leave it on for longer, but you want to leave it on for at least 1 minute to 2 minutes and let it work and kill the bacteria. And after about a week or two, you will have basically a 90%, 95% reduction in acne bacteria on your face, which will obviously help your acne. Of course, this only addresses one of the things, one of the 4 causes, which is the acne bacteria, which is why it's on the less potent end of the scale. Next, when it comes to topicals, is the retinoid family. So lots of people are confused, essentially, by the naming scheme. Retinoids, retinol, they get that confused. So I'm here to explain. All these 3 creams are very commonly used for acne, and they scale up in terms of intensity. So tretinoin cream is the strongest and retinol is the weakest, right? Although it's still relatively quite strong. All three of these do the same thing effectively, including adapalene. They increase cell turnover rate, and they basically cause your skin to increase the collagen production and to essentially cycle through skin cells faster. As mentioned above, this will help you with clogged pores, as well as reducing the mark that acne leaves on your skin after acne is gone. So not only can this help with acne, especially with tretinoin, but it can also help with the appearance of post-acne scarring by basically causing your skin cells to cycle through faster and regenerate faster. One thing you do have to be careful of if you are using retinoids is the sun. It makes your skin very sensitive to sunlight, so you have to apply at least SPF 50 on top after it dries if you're going outside. Even if you're inside near a window, you still probably want to be on the safer side and use SPF 50. And of course, use a non-comedogenic sunscreen, because if it clogs your pores, then you're just reversing all the progress, right? And here, at the very furthest end of the most potent scale, is Accutane, the final solution. So this is mostly for very severe, long-term cystic acne. And this essentially, the reason why Accutane is so powerful is because it addresses all 4 causes of acne. All 4. It shrinks sebaceous glands so that they produce less oil. It basically annihilates sebum production on the face, which can also cause things like skin dryness, chapped lips, that sort of thing. But that's one of the side effects, of course. And then the second thing it does is it unclogs your pores. And the third thing is it kills acne bacteria. And the fourth thing is that it reduces overall systemic inflammation. So it hits every single one of the four causes of acne. However, this isn't for free, so it comes with many side effects. If you are pregnant and you're a woman, do not take Accutane. You will get birth defects, horrific birth defects. I'm not even going to go in detail because it's that bad. I would suggest you look it up yourself. So if you plan on getting pregnant or you are pregnant, don't use Accutane. So that's the thing there. And even if you are a man and you're planning to have a child in the very near future, I would be careful as well. It's not as documented, but there is, use logic, right? If it affects the woman in a birthing period, why would it not affect, for example, the sperm, right? And also potentially lead to birth defects through that mechanism. Next thing is dry lips. So you will have chapped lips. Just use Vaseline or something. It's not that big of a deal. Joint pain is a bigger concern, but that's sort of slightly on the rarer side. I believe it's only something like less than 10% of people get the side effects, although it's still quite a few. But the last two are the worst side effects. One is hormonal imbalance, and 2 is stunted growth. So Accutane has been documented to decrease your testosterone and increase your estrogen, as well as potentially close your growth plates earlier. So I would very much suggest that unless if you have literally life-ruining acne, like your acne is in the top 0.05% worst acne on Earth, on planet Earth, I wouldn't suggest you take this if you're a teenager. So if you're below the age of 18, 19, any ages above that, you should probably, and if you do take Accutane, don't take it from some gray market source, right? You can buy it from steroid vendors and so on, but it's quite risky because you can't really titrate the dose properly. The way that it works is that doctors will give you a very small dose at first and incrementally increase according to your body weight and response to side effects. So it's very important that you do it through the actual medical sort of path. And if you have bad acne, you will definitely be able to get it prescribed to you. So don't worry about that. So that's it for the pharmaceuticals. So how do we put this all together? So here's a simple routine. First thing you want to do is use an exfoliating cleanser. Just look up online CeraVe exfoliating cleanser and just buy the first one you see. Okay, it's not that complicated. And then you want to use a salicylic acid cleanser, like I showed below. And you want to, after that, make sure your face is dry. You want to apply your topicals. So either that's retinoids or benzoyl peroxide. Don't combine them, because retinoids will make your skin much more sensitive to benzoyl peroxide, which breaks down the outer layer of your skin's protective barrier. So choose one or the other. And then once it's dry, use non-comedogenic moisturizer. So a moisturizer that doesn't block your pores. Preferably something maybe with hyaluronic acid in it, which will help with your scarring and inflammation. And then if it's AM, so if it's your AM routine, not your PM routine, use SPF 50 on top. Of course, wait for everything to dry before you add the next layer. You don't want everything just to mix into, a horrible mess. And make sure, again, this is non-comedogenic. So you really need to be careful about what sunscreen you pick. I suggest going for brands such as La Roche-Posay. Bit more expensive, but it's very high quality, and you won't have any breakouts or reactions to them. But everything here is more general. So the reason I didn't give any specific brands is because sort of experiment on your own. Everyone's skin is different and responds differently to different brands because of, one minute ingredient one has and not the other. So these are just the general classes or categories of things that you should be buying. And then do some research on your own, or just try them out and see what happens. I recommend CeraVe as a good brand. CeraVe, La Roche-Posay, I think those are the two top ones. If you're going for benzoyl peroxide, Acne Side is a good brand. And for retinoids, most of them you have to get prescribed, the stronger ones. For the weaker ones like retinol, again, I recommend CeraVe. Right, next, on to the final section. So, dealing with scars. So now that you've fixed your acne, you have scars left behind, right? Everyone who's had acne knows what I'm talking about. Very unpleasant scars, bumpy skin, sort of divots in the skin. It looks like there's like craters even in your skin. These are the products I would suggest. So the La Roche-Posay Effaclear Duo. Usually I don't like to name drop skincare products, but this has worked so well for me that I feel like it would be a disservice not to mention it. It's a bit expensive, but I think it's worth every penny, in my opinion. And it's very, it's good for you even if you have sensitive skin. So that's something to consider. The next thing, a bit more niche, dermastamping with hyaluronic acid. So what you do is you buy a vial of hyaluronic acid for skincare, and then you basically rub it over your skin. And then you take a dermastamp, which, if you didn't know, is basically this stamp with lots and lots of little, very, very micro needles. These micro needles that penetrate into your skin and basically allow the hyaluronic acid to essentially be injected deeper into your skin. If you just rub on hyaluronic acid on the outer barrier of your skin, most of it won't actually be able to benefit you because it won't be able to be absorbed. By dermastamping after applying it, you essentially are making hundreds of injections of hyaluronic acid into your skin, which will plump up your skin, and it will basically increase collagen production, which will regenerate the craters and the scarring on your face. Next thing is retinoids. So retinoids, as I mentioned before, are not just good for combating acne, they're also good for treating your skin after you're done with dealing with acne. So they basically increase cell rate turnover, which again increases the speed at which your skin can regenerate, and if it can regenerate at all, basically the mechanisms are very complex, so I won't go into them here, but that's what they do. They increase cell rate turnover. And then the last thing is sunscreen. So sunscreen is very important because sun will essentially inflame your acne scars and make them look a lot worse than they actually are. So sunscreen is something I would definitely suggest. A last thing that I didn't put on the list, because it's more of a temporary fix, is something like Herborian CC cream or any sort of BB cream, color correcting cream, to basically cover up the scars and blend into the rest of your skin tone. Again, this is temporary, but maybe if you have a photo shoot or you have some important event coming up where you need to look good, that's something that you might want to consider. I actually made a video talking about it. It's called Looks Maxes You Can Literally Do Today. So if you want to learn more about that, go watch that video. That's it for this video. And I'd like to say that I've recently launched a free Discord community. So if you want to join, then join. But if not, then I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.